everyone, I'm Sarah Davis and I am the co-owner of Woodjudge Homestead. I want to talk to you guys today about making a very easy white sandwich bread. I learned how to do this many years ago. It was one of the very first things I learned when we started homesteading. The reason why is because there's a long running joke here in Virginia about every single time the word hurricane or snow is mentioned, people freak out and rush to the store and buy up all the bread. With me being gluten intolerant, the kind of bread that I can have is very limited. So I learned just to make my own. And it's very simple and very easy, and it came in handy so much when the pandemic first hit, and that was one of the first things that flew off of all the shelves. And so I was able to make bread for my own family. Now, this is a very easy recipe. It doesn't take very long at all to do, and I'm going to show you guys step by step the recipe that I like to use the most. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do is get you a cup of warm water. Put the warm water into a bowl. Add in 1/4 cup of sugar. And 1 packet of dry yeast. Alright, I'm going to stir this all together. And you want to let this sit for 5 minutes. So while this is sitting, I'm going to go ahead and mix up the rest of the ingredients, and then I can add this into it, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright. So that's going to sit here for 5 minutes. Now, I got my mixer here. Okay, now what we're going to need is 1/3 cup of oil. Go ahead and measure this out. And I have just enough. It's amazing how often that actually does happen to me. Now 1½ teaspoons of salt. This is a 1/2 teaspoon here, so I'm going to do this 3 times. Right. 1 egg. This is one of my chicken eggs from one of our Isa Browns. I love farm fresh eggs. There's nothing quite like it. All right. And we need 3 to about 3½ cups of flour. Dry this off a little bit on my apron. It's the best thing about aprons. All right, so I'm gonna measure out 3 cups. Now since I'm gluten intolerant, I found out a long time ago that I could actually have organic wheat. So that's the only kind I buy anymore is organic flour. But if you want to do gluten-free with this recipe, you definitely can. I suggest getting the Bob's Red Mill, the 1-to-1 baking flour. Since I like that one the best. You don't have to add any xanthan gum or anything to it. But I just get this organic white flour here and get it from Walmart. It's like $3 for this entire thing, so whenever they have it, I usually stock up on it because you can use flours. There's so many different things. Bread is one of my favorite things to do. Alright, now I'm going to mix this together. Some of my favorite recipes don't require a mixer. I like to do things by hand whenever I can. It's more fun that way, I think. Alright. Go. All right, got about 10 more seconds, and then we can add in the warm water, yeast, and the sugar. Mix this all together, and then we can knead it. All right. So we're going to add this into it. Now you're going to mix this together until it forms a soft dough. Very good. Now this recipe does not require a bread machine. I have one. I have never used one in my entire life. I had one that was given to me. I don't like to use very old-fashioned. My favorite way is fresh out of the oven. Alright, so we'll mix this up to a soft dough. Alright, I'm going to forego this now. Finish mixing with my hands. This is just my family, so no one cares. Alright, this has formed a nice, soft dough. Perfect. Now, I'm going to use this. It's a cutting board, but it's perfect. Perfect for mixing up dough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of my flour onto the board. Use the hands not covered in dough. This will help it to prevent it from sticking. There we go. Turn the flour mixture here. Alright. I'm going to put a little bit of flour in my hands here to help to prevent the dough from sticking. And I'm going to knead this for 5 minutes.
Mommy, wait.
Alright, so now the 5 minutes are up.
Mommy,
Yes?
I want to do it my way.
Okay, we're all done now. Alright, so the 5 minutes are now up. So I'm going to spray the inside of the mixing bowl. Put some canola spray. Alright, can you put the dough in here?
Just like
You want it kind of in a ball. Got my little helper here now. Alright, put it in. Now watch this. Now we're going to put it in here. Now we're going to flip the dough over. We're going to flip it over. That way the oil is on both sides. Now we're going to cover it. We got to cover it now.
I don't want to flip it over.
We already did.
I want to flip it over. Can I cover it up?
You have the cover.
Can I cover it up?
Now for this part you can use plastic wrap. I like to use this. It's all natural because I avoid plastic as much as possible. So this is actually made out of beeswax and is a lovely present that a friend of mine gifted to me. Hang on, drape it right over. But you can definitely use plastic wrap if that's more readily available. This you kind of have to use the heat from your hands to help seal it. But I love that it's all natural and it's reusable. And I have different sizes to do different things. Alright, so this is sealing up nicely.
Hey, Mom.
Then we have to let this sit in a warm place, which my kitchen is always warm because I always have something going on. It's going to sit in a warm place for about 15 minutes until the dough has risen a bit. So let's put it over here and we'll check on it in a few minutes. Alright, so the 15 minutes are up. So we're going to take this off, dump this out. Now we're going to punch the dough down for 1 minute. Now I'm going to spray my bread pan. You can use a regular loaf pan. This one is my absolute favorite. It is made of cast iron, a little dirty. It's made completely out of cast iron, so it helps to bake in more minerals into the food to make it healthier, and it gives it a really nice golden crust. It's my absolute favorite thing ever. So I'm going to spray this. Alright, I'm going to put the dough in here. I'm going to get nice and level. Don't want too high, you want so that way it bakes evenly. Now you don't have to turn it this time.
Now we have to turn my dough round and around.
Now we need to go put it over by the stove
No.
and let the dough sit in here until the oven has preheated to 400 degrees. Alright, so the oven has preheated to 400 degrees. Now it's time to put the bread into the oven. So we'll stick this on in here. Now, because the oven is on a higher temperature, you're going to need to watch it a little bit more. Slide it to the middle of the oven here. I'm going to close it up. I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes. But I am going to check it after about 20 minutes just to make sure it hasn't burned, because like I said, it is on a higher temperature than most breads are. So about after 20 minutes, I'm going to give it a check and see how it looks. Alright, so the bread took exactly 30 minutes to be done in the oven. I sat and let it cool for a while so I could slice it up for you guys. So it's sliced up this bread here. Beautiful. Now we have beautiful homemade white bread. This knife cut up a little bit part of that off. But it's absolutely delicious. It's light and fluffy. And absolutely perfect. So I hope you guys try this out and enjoy. Don't forget to go and check out my channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you can stay up to date on all the homesteading for beginner how-to videos.